What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Addicted Hunting Podcast. Before we get started today, if you guys could do us a huge favor and share this out there, click the subscribe button, whatever you got to do. We're doing this for you guys, giving you content, tips, tricks, everything. This is for you guys, so share it out there. Share the wealth to all your friends that might want to listen to some hunting stories and stuff. So, anyways, today we have the Illness Outdoors in the house tonight. I'll let them introduce themselves.
I'm Levi.
I'm Tracy.
And I'm Scott Gillis.
All right, so these are good friends of ours. We've known them for a long time, and they got a super cool group going on. Well, I'm going to let them tell you the backstory on the Illness Outdoors and how it got started.
It got started, about 2 years ago on Tracy's Dayton hunt. We kind of wanted to get some film together and get going, and so I decided to come up with a logo, and that's how it pretty much started, was from there.
Yeah, you came to us from that point. And
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And
We just kind of got all together and decided we want to share the passion out there and let everybody know what we do with all of our hunting and film it and get it out there for everybody and see if we can get any new people into the hunting world and share what we do in our lives with everybody. So
that's super awesome. I think we're all kind of trying to do the same thing here is share that passion and share, hunting as a good sport and a positive outlook. And I think that's what we're all trying to do.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't think you guys mentioned it, but they're all related.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Gillis boys.
The Gillis clan. So, yeah.
And Michael Baston, who's not here right now.
Yeah.
So he's part of it too, but he's brother-in-law now.
Yeah. He's
All
part of
family
still. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got to get Mike in here and do a podcast with him.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun.
For sure.
I thought he actually was going to be here, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. So.
Well, we need to get him in here and talk about his first deer hunt. I think that would be a good podcast.
That would be
That
a
would be
whole
fun.
separate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tracy and I, we never at that point, we never even got to do anything with our deer tag in Idaho. But,
It was fun though.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We learned a lot.
Yeah.
Well, and just from what I've seen, you guys have just lit a fire with him. When it comes to hunting, I've been fishing with Mike forever, and I never really talked to him about hunting. We never, never seemed interested until he became part of your guys' family, and then all of a sudden, it's just he's addicted to hunting. I mean,
Yeah.
he
Trust
loves
me,
it.
we are still going to go shooting, and we still are going to get his first deer.
So anyway, how did your guys' 2018 hunt season go? Tell us from the beginning. I know you guys have some super exciting stories to share.
So we started out, we put in for New Mexico, and we drew our first choice, which was awesome. And it was a 14-day hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we went down there, and it was, we had about a week, just under a week of scouting before the hunt started. And then the day before season, 4 other guys showed up to help us out. So we had a lot of people looking in different areas and kind of covered the country. Just to find
Levi was cameraman, right?
Yeah.
Levi came, yep. He was walking around me the whole time. So
And you, Scott and Tracy had tags on this New Mexico.
Yeah, we had tags.
we had two tags.
I spent about 80% of my hunting in a different area without a cameraman, so most of the footage that was in New Mexico was Tracy being filmed by Levi. So,
But yeah, we'll be getting some more cameras, and definitely from what we learned from that hunt is you have to have multiple cameras. Because if you split up, you have no clue what he's doing over there. So we'll definitely get more squared away for the next one. But
Filming hunts,
yeah,
man, it's got its own
difficult
trials and tribulations.
Whole nother league.
It is.
For
It
sure.
is.
It's hard.
For sure.
It's a learning curve for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Levi did
Learning the
an awesome
equipment
job
and everything is
on that.
difficult.
on that. The first year that we had it, it was definitely a learning curve when we went to Dayton. But then the New Mexico, that footage turned out really good.
It's hard to keep it steady and just going and
You
focus
learn
and everything.
a lot of what you can and
Right.
can't do with a camera, for sure.
So you guys, when you guys head over to New Mexico, you guys gave yourselves a couple days of just scouting, right, before your hunt started?
It started on Saturday, I think, and we got down there on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we gave ourselves quite a bit of time to go out and just see if any bulls are bugling yet, and try and find the elk.
The most important part of that whole thing is going early to get acclimated because you're hunting so high. Some people take pills, for the altitude, but it's pretty important to show up early because the guys that came down on the airplane and we sent them in, a different direction to scout. There was a couple of them that they were just sucking wind. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to get used to that. So you have to show up early. It's a must in my opinion.
I 100% agree. We had the same issue in Colorado this year. It kicked our butts first couple days.
Yeah.
And once we all got acclimated, it was like, man, a breath of fresh air. Like I can finally breathe, you know?
Right.
We all live at sea level, so
Yeah.
anything outside of the west coast of Washington is definitely not our normal.
Yeah, I took one of our buddies, Tom, with me in the beginning, and I had been there already for 4 or 5 days, and he started to hunt with me, and he was trying to keep up. He said, Gillis, I can't do this. You're going to have to find one of the other guys to go with you the next day because he wasn't acclimated yet. So when they're screaming and it's time to go, he was holding me back, and he knew it. So he told me, he goes, you got to get Kevin to go with you. So, but yeah.
But yeah, it was for the hunt wise. We started out day before season and found a couple bulls that were bugling, and then opening day, obviously, we went after them, and huge lightning storm, thunderstorm came through, and
That's cool.
we had lightning hitting the ground right next to us. It was actually a little scary, but the bulls just kind of moved off, and they would only talk early in the morning to start, the season out. So we were on them for a couple days.
Yeah.
And we decided there wasn't a ton of bulls bugling yet. So we decided to kind of split up at that point and go different ways. And so that's what we did. And I think you guys found a bunch of bulls that were bugling.
Yeah, we stumbled onto this huge ridge that there was bulls, and Tracy went down one side with Levi, and I went a different direction. It took us like about 5 miles to get around the other side, but it basically was the same ridge coming in from a different direction, and there was just this huge ravine that for 3 days straight we were in there, and the whole ravine,
it was chaos.
It was lots and lots of bulls.
There was, on an average, that's where we hunted the rest of the season because the bulls were there, and
we didn't have any pressure.
There must have been some hot cows because every bull in the whole canyon was screaming.
That's awesome.
And on an average, we had probably 5 to 10 different bulls screaming all day long.
New ones working in and old ones working out. And,
The crazy thing is every time that we were not in there hunting and we were out on a road or at camp or somebody came around, they were like, "Yeah, man, we haven't heard nothing," and the whole time we're like clammed up, thinking, this is crazy. Where we are hunting is chaos every single morning, and we would chase them from one end to the next. In the evening, it was chaos.
Sounds like an elk hunter's paradise.
It was.
And I think the biggest thing about that hunt that helped us huge is not going back to camp
Right.
midday.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Staying out there midday.
We
Yep.
stayed out there every day we were there. We hunted from daylight to dark. Never went back to camp. And it helped us huge because these elk, they would be hot and heavy for the morning till about 10, 11 o'clock. They'd bed down for an hour or so. And right around 11, noon, 1 o'clock, they get up. And the whole canyon just comes alive again.
Mm-hmm.
And you're out there chasing them again midday.
And once they get their cows bedded down and they feel safe, they go.
Right, and then they
Yep.
kind of shut up for a couple hours here and there, but that helped us huge to stay on them throughout the whole day and know, because they moved so much down there that one bull would come in and try and take them, and they would push. So you're chasing all these screaming bulls in this huge herd that, if you went back to camp, they would be 2 ridges over. When you went back to that same ridge, they wouldn't be there. So you had to kind of stay on them,
And while
so that was a learning curve.
while we were actually out there hunting and knew that we were doing the right thing by staying out there hunting these bulls that were screaming, the rest of the group that was back at camp, that came down, they would go back to camp, and from where we were to camps like 5 miles. Everybody was back at their camps in the midday. We were the only ones out there hunting.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Had it all to yourselves.
we actually had
And-
this canyon to ourselves.
We did
for
have
the most part.
One person, a couple guys that came the road we were using to get in there. There was a couple days where we'd have a person here, a person there, but they wouldn't stay. They never continued to hunt it with us, so they kind of seen us, and then they kind of moved off to a different part of the unit. I mean, the unit was huge, so
Right.
and it didn't matter where you went. There was elk everywhere in the unit,
Yeah.
but we just found where the bulls were bugling. So
So how? My question to you guys is, you think about New Mexico and you think of kind of like high desert, like dry. What
Nope. It's like out east,
really
like the blues.
was water important? Finding water.
Very.
water was very important. It was
Midday, they'd go to water. And,
yeah.
Were they pretty consistent then with going to water too?
Yeah. We
Yeah,
didn't know in the
there's
beginning,
so
but-
down there it's a lot different than here. You don't got big creek bottoms and stuff like that. It's more of they build water holes down there. They're just big ponds that
they call them tanks.
call them a tank, and they just fill up with water. So we personally have never hunted over a water hole because we haven't had to, but that was an option. I mean, we checked a bunch of them out and checking where the sign was and, if there was any elk in that water hole or this water hole. And we've been down there a couple other times in the unit, so we know kind of where to go.
That's
So-
super important.
And that helped us huge because when we were doing the scouting, we tried all new areas that we've never been.
Right.
And we were seeing elk, but never heard any bugling, nothing talking, and not a ton of signs. So we went back to where we had all the action in the past couple times we've been down there, and that's where we ended up hunting. So
So, and Scott, you've had this tag before, right?
Yeah, that's something that's not you don't really want to talk about because people get kind of a little offended on it. But honestly, the guys, especially the guys down there, because it's a hard tag to draw, and I've been there 3 times. So I've been fortunate enough to draw it 3 times. But when you told a local down there that you are back for the 3rd time, they're like, "What?" You know what I mean?
yeah, and
So,
they keep asking us who we know in the
I kind of
New Mexico fishing game.
After a while, I was
We
like,
call that
yeah,
the yellow's curse.
I don't know about this, so, but yeah, I have been there, and I've learned a lot. And all 3 times that we've been there, we have never ever been to the same spot. We've tried different areas.
We've the first time we were there, we were in a completely different
Completely
area
different
than
area.
what we were last year. I But every time we go, we learn a little more and more, you know. So where we hunted this year was in between the two spots where we've been the last two times. So
Right.
the elk were in the other spots, but they weren't talking. So we just happened to find where the bulls were screaming and bugling and doing all the rutting. And
That big
that's where
canyon, we didn't know it in the beginning, but as we kept further and further deeper into this canyon, we figured out that there was a creek, and it came out of the ground, and then as it went down the canyon, it disappeared under the ground. So there was a stretch in the middle where they were using to go get water, and we kept hearing them midday. We kept hearing them down there, so it was like, we need to figure out what's down there, which we kind of figured was water. So we went down in there, and that's when it was like, this is kind of a game changer now, because now we know what they're doing and coming down there. So we set up a blind down in there.
we were close.
We were close. Yeah, we were close several times.
We found where they would cross through the bottom, going from ridge to ridge. They would cross through the bottom, and we thought we had it pretty well secured. And then the day, I think me and Levi went in there.
I think it was my last day.
I think it was your last day, yeah, that they were there, and they ended up having some bulls. I think, we heard some bunch of cows talking, I think. So we decided we were going to leave because it kind of shut up. And then all of a sudden these couple cows started talking, and we knew that it wasn't no people because there hasn't been no pressure in there. So we decided to turn around, and all of a sudden the bulls started bugling, and we found this. In the bottom, there's a big flat, and where they crossed, it was rub after rub after rub, and just big green grass meadow kind of in the bottom, and that's when we really figured out where they were crossing. There's huge trails that they've been using, so that's where we set the blind up the second time, and not on the water where they were crossing. So we kind of did a bunch of gambling of where to set the blind up, and so we kind of wasted a couple days kind of through there, but we got close.
Yeah.
I mean, you went and sat in the blind for a day, and
I sat in it and had probably a 335, 340 bull that walked with all the cows, and he was probably about 120 yards up the hill from me, and I'm like, oh no, come down. And he sidelined me the whole time, and then all of a sudden he turned and he started coming down, and I could see bits and pieces of him, probably like out there in between the branches and the trees about 80 yards, and right up from where I had the blind set, there's this big flat. But all of a sudden he bugled, and I'm like, oh no, this blind ain't gonna do me no good now.
you can't see where he's going to cross.
He's already gotten above me, so I decide to get out of the blind, and I grab the bow, and then I go to take off, and I went, oh no, I forgot my arrows, so I had to go back into the blind and get my arrows because I took them off the inside of the blind. So then I get back on, going up the trail, and I only had to go like 50 yards, and I get up to where I can actually see in that flat, and I'm expecting to see something. I'm like, where did he go? He just bugled right there. And I sat there for, I don't know, maybe it seemed like 10 minutes, but it was only like 3 minutes, and I took a half a step, and the whole time he was only 15 yards behind a jack fir tree staring at me to my left.
Oh,
and I had no clue that he was even there until he whirled and took off, and I tried to cow call him, tried to stop him, and you know that game. He already had seen me for like 3 minutes standing there, so that was over. But he was a nice bull. But so from that point, I don't know if I even sat in the blind much after that. I think I was running and gunning.
I think, because everybody left. That was the 4 guys that came down to help. They all left back on the plane. They were only there for the first week, so it was just me and my dad after that. And so we kind of teamed up, and
it was.
I kind of said screw it on the filming part because we both have tags. So, and that part of it was really hard.
We were like
once-
little puppy dogs once they left.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was like
Who's going to do the filming? Who's going to do the
We're-
calling?
That's
who's gonna
tough
do the
with two
shooting,
guys, too.
So,
yeah.
and that part of it really was a bummer that everybody had to leave, but we took advantage of it, I guess, and the best that we could, and we ended up killing 2 bulls. Mine was kind of a redemption bull because when Levi was with us, I did miss one. That was a bummer. But there was one night, and if you go to and watch our little series that we did in New Mexico, you'll see the one night we have in the one canyon, I would say at least
25, 30 bulls.
at least 25, 30 bulls. Only a couple were bugling. The bigger ones would bugle, but
We started up
hundreds.
on top. And the
there's probably a
second,
couple hundred elk at least
Oh, yeah.
in the one canyon.
Wow.
And so we went back there the next morning, and the wind was bad. It was blowing down the canyon, and that's where all the elk were. So we tried to skirt them and get up high, and then the wind would switch. So we decided to just kind of go right
we
at
had
them.
some on our side, and we just
Yeah,
went around those ones.
and the whole morning we could hear them screaming down there, so we knew we had to get down there, but we didn't want to blow all the elk out, a couple hundred elk at least. And
Yeah.
so we kind of took a little break and sat down and were wondering what we should do because the wind was bad. And then it kind of changed a little bit and started to blow. Thermals started to kick in a little bit, and so we just bonsai'd right down to them and hoping that it wouldn't blow it. And
Yep.
we got really close, and they were just across the canyon from us, right in the bottom. We were probably 60 yards off the bottom, and they were just across on the other side. And all of a sudden, the woods came alive. I think what they did is they smelled us, but instead of blowing down the canyon, they started to come back up towards us a little bit, and then they circled right below us and came right at us. And
The
all
one
the,
was
all
probably
the cows,
doing circles down there and
You
just
know.
confusing the heck out of them.
yeah, how they kind of came up onto our side, and
We had the herd come directly at us. I had a bull right here, 15 yards next to me, a 4x4. He knew I wasn't right. I just stood there as still as possible. Tracy's right in front of me, and the whole herd's right in front of him, just on the other side of the trees. And this bull just standing there started slowly walking towards me, and I looked like this. And the second I made eye contact with him like that, he bolted.
yeah. But we ended up having the whole herd came right up, just perfect, right into my lap, and I didn't have time to range. I did range fine, but he came a little closer than what he did, and then by the time everything started happening really quick, I didn't have time to range find where he was going to be, and I just guessed the yardage, and I ended up shooting right under him, and it was a bummer, but it was kind of my heart sunk pretty much, this is your opportunity, and everybody takes time off of work to come down and help you. And so, but he ran up the hill, all the cows and him ran up the hill, and he went right back to bugling. 2 minutes after I shot at him, he went right back to bugling, so I knew I didn't hit him. And then we looked over the footage, and I couldn't find no blood, no nothing, and then we heard on the radio, Dad, he was up on the top where they were going, and he seen them all bailing over the top, and the bull was with them, so I knew that it was a clean miss, And
I was thinking, he's free game now.
Was it a good bull?
so he was about 320, 330 bull.
He's the best one in the herd.
He was the best one in the herd there, and yeah, it was tough to take it in, but you can't give up, keep going after him, and that's what we did, And
I missed on day 6
So-
on the on a 16-day hunt, and
Mhm.
that's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah.
When you
So-
miss and you think that's your one opportunity.
And it was hard because the wind was horrible down
The whole
there
time.
all the time, and it would just swirl. You could never, wherever the elk were, you could never get the wind right,
Mhm. That was for about a week.
and it
that we
was
had that,
tough.
where the wind was
It was
horrible.
tough, and
Yeah.
when you got in on them, and you started bugling and calling and trying to call them in, they would just take the cows and run.
Mhm.
And I mean, they don't like here in Washington. They run a couple 100 yards, and that's their push. Over there, it's a mile push.
Oh yeah,
You know, half mile push, and you're down this canyon and up the other side and up and over that other side, and it's hard to keep up. So
Did you
we were
guys-
struggling a little bit?
Were you guys utilizing calling more or trying to intercept them, or what was your main tactic?
We were running and gunning, bugling, screaming the whole time.
To start wise, see, I had a little different tactic
Mhm.
than my dad did because we were split up at this point because we had everybody with us. But Dad was bugling and running and gunning and just staying right on them and pushing and pushing and pushing, and we
They were
kind of
talking
took
so
a
much.
different aspect at it, and there were so many bulls bugling that you didn't have to do anything. You knew where they were.
Right.
kind of just moved in on them when they were talking.
You would just sneak in and get really, really close, and then try a call or something. And it happened to us a couple times where we would get within 100 yards, 80 yards of them, just out of your sight, and you would start cow calling, and they would take the cows and just bail off the ridge.
Yeah.
And
They didn't,
it's like, what the heck
they
are they
didn't like
doing?
competition. They don't.
No.
That
You
down
know?
there, there's so many bulls that they just run.
Yeah.
So you're better off trying to ambush them.
Because there probably is somebody bigger than them
there.
coming in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you think
Yeah.
they're
Towards the end, we saw some dandies.
Yeah.
There was a lot bigger bulls that moved in to that big where
Yeah.
all the cows were. We saw
Well,
a
after-
couple of them about 350, 360 range.
After they left, the guys left, and Tracy and I were pretty much so on our own at that point. We just said we gotta buckle up here. We gotta get her done. We only got a week now, so that from that point it was, I called for you, and then I went on that other side of that canyon.
Yeah.
And then, because he seen some bulls up on the side that I was on, he was actually watching for me.
I was on a completely different ridge top, and I could see about a 350 bull with a bunch of cows bedded on his side, and he was at the top of the ridge. So it was kind of midday, and I just laid down on the hillside, just glassing for him, watching these bulls and trying to get him in a good spot for when they get up to make an ambush on them, and then get one of them. And all of a sudden, I was just laying there. My bow's, off on its own, laying up against a tree, and just got my binoculars glassing. I hear this thud. Like, that's a weird sound for the woods. You don't really hear it. And I just slowly look to my right, and there's a bull walking right at me. He's probably 40 yards from me. I'm going, uh-oh.
you don't have your bow in your
I
hand?
don't have my bow, not an arrow nock, no nothing, And so I just kind of sit there and see what he's going to do, and he just walks right at me, and he gets about 25 yards or so from me, 20 yards, and he kind of looks at me and knows I'm kind of not right, but I'm not moving or anything, so he just kept coming. And he came. I had a couple little trees right to my right, and he, at this point, he's about 10 yards from me, and he comes around the corner of the trees, and I'm thinking he's just going to walk right on behind me, and he starts to turn and come right where my legs are walking. I mean, he's five yards now, and he starts to turn, come towards me, and I didn't know what he was going to do, and I didn't want him to walk all over my legs that are laying right there between the trees, and so I kind of just moved my body, just a slight touch, and his eyes got about freaking, way, way big. And he kind of whirled and turned, and he stopped, and I grabbed my bow real quick, and he's staring right at me, so I can't, he already seen me now move, so I don't want to knock an arrow, and he just slowly starts walking right up behind me at 25 yards, and by this time what do I got to lose? I got to knock an arrow. So he's just walking, and I knock an arrow, and he goes behind one tree, and he's back up behind me now. And so I do the whole spin around real quick, and he just keeps on walking like he's never even seen a man. It's just blew my mind how it worked, but right at 20 yards, he went behind a tree, and I drew, and Cal called and stopped him right in the little window that I had, and put it right behind the shoulder. But just crazy how it goes from you're sitting on a hillside, and that's another don't go back to camp midday because anything can happen.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
And not expecting anything. And so, but yeah, it was pretty cool how it happened.
Yeah.
So Scott, tell us about your bull.
So from that point right there, we got that bull out and decided to go back in there the next day. I can't remember. Was the next day the last day? But
No.
Well, let me backtrack just a little bit. We had this road that we were using to get in there, and there was some trees across the road, and we go around these trees and go to the end of the road and park. And there was a spring there that we discovered, and these bulls, every single morning, these bulls were at the spring getting water, and we'd hear them, and they would hear us shut the quad off and get off the quad.
Only 150 yards from them.
Up the hill.
Shut the quads off.
So this happened a couple days after your bull. It was.
Yeah.
Because we did that for 2 days straight, I think. And then it was like, you know what? We're going to outsmart this thing. So when we got to the tree, which was probably 500 yards from the end of the road, I said, let's stop the quad there and not go around the tree. Let's stop, shut it off. Let's walk down the road. And as we're walking down the road, they're in the
chaos.
Spring, and they're chaos. They're
screaming.
screaming. I said, we got to hurry up. We got to keep going around that road, and we got to get way up on that ridge ahead of them. So when they're done watering, we'll intercept them coming up. And I don't know, me, I was winded, but we did our best and got up and around there. And Tracy actually, we started
doing
set up and.
We started doing a bunch of calling, and the bull kind of sounded like he was coming our way a little bit. And
well, I had that one that was probably a 320 bull standing there, and he just wouldn't commit and come down to his calls. And I kept turning around, telling Tracy to go back. And I seen him the whole time. He was just probably 120
he just hung up. He could see where I was calling from.
Mm-hmm.
It's all down there. It's wide open timber,
So, and then all of a sudden, as he backtracked to go up the ridge and was kind of not interested, I could hear one screaming just like right over the edge, and I'm like, "Oh boy!"
He keeps getting closer.
And he was
and
getting closer, and I'm like, I better concentrate on looking at the horizon of the ridge now, and not paying attention to this guy because it's probably like 80 yards to the top. And so I kind of pivoted towards that, and he kept calling, and it was his history from there. I just seen the tops of those antlers coming, and I was like, oh, there he is, So I got ready, and I'm not a big fan of shooting one right in the square in the chest ever. I've never taken that shot. I've seen people that have taken it. I just never done it myself. And I knew that if I had the opportunity, I knew that from what everybody has always said, it's got to be close and it's got to be perfect or it ain't going to work.
Yeah.
But it is lethal when it happens.
And honestly, it couldn't have been any more perfect. He was probably about 22 yards, I think, is what we figured. Mm-hmm. And I put it right on the chest, and the rest was history. He only went up the hill, right to the top of the hill, and piled up. So
yeah, just out of sight.
Just out of sight. So,
but yeah, it was kind of funny because that
was on the last day in the morning.
And there was not one bugle we did. in that calling. When I was down over the hill, I had 3-4 calls in my hand, cow calls in my hand, just blowing. I mean, nonstop. That sounding. I was running over here, running over there, and just making all kinds of havoc back there. You know, thinking
That sounded like a
you
herd.
got to do something. You know, and
That was
I
awesome.
sounded like a bunch of cows back there, but never bugled once. And he came flying in.
Wow.
So
And
Scott,
when
your
he
bull
came-
was a last day bull too.
Yeah.
That was the last
Yeah.
day.
That's
Yep.
Last,
Last morning, we almost didn't even go out.
yeah.
I'm like, it's the last day. We got to at least give it the morning and try it.
yeah.
And if nothing happens, we'll come back to camp and pack up and go home. But
Hmm.
it worked out.
That's
Yeah.
what mine was this year too. Last day.
Yeah, you can't give up.
You can't.
Mm-mm.
You just got to keep going out.
Hmm. Yeah, no, it was a very fun 3 weeks that we spent down there. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
One of
Long time, but
one of the
you need that
Yes.
much time to get acclimated, and you know,
To figure the elk out.
you got to figure them out, because it took at least 10 days to figure the elk out and what they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember we were just getting into Colorado when you guys called me. And
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, we're tagged out. And I'm like, yes. I was so stoked for you guys.
Actually, you guys were quite a bit earlier. Or
The first
it was
through
the
the 1st of September through the 14th.
yeah.
you were about a week.
That was when I was
Yeah.
we left. I left for Idaho on I think the 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys had already tagged out, and
Yeah,
that was
Yeah,
pretty
it was-
cool though.
yeah. Unfortunately, Tracy and I were, there again by ourselves, so we didn't have Levi to be there for the camera part of it. Otherwise, there would have been some.
That part of it
fabulous-
sucks, because it would have been awesome footage of the bull. I honestly, before I moved my body, I could have reached up and touched his nose.
That's
He was so close. Yeah, it kind of scared me, because I didn't know what he was going to do.
Was he
or,
going to tromp
you know,
all over you?
you never know. So
Yeah.
before he did it, I wanted to.
Yeah, that video is out on YouTube
Yep.
of you telling the story, and it shows the tree, and it shows right where he was sitting and everything. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that series you guys put out is awesome. Like, the country's beautiful and all the shots you guys got. It's tough, though. You know, people got jobs and they got to get back home. And it's tough to have just like a designated camera guy to
Mhm.
be there to film all the time. I mean,
Yep.
It's tough.
it takes a lot
Well,
of dedication.
filming in itself is tough. I mean,
and
if you,
even
this is
you know, once I killed, I think it was the ninth day that I killed. We had till the 14th to get his bull, and so I picked up a camera and started doing some filming and trying to do my best to film it and call in. You know, so there's not a whole ton of footage that he's right there. So, but that's the way it goes.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
some footage on the one that I didn't get. So
Yeah, there's that too.
yeah,
You know.
I had one that I
You can't see the bull, but you can hear him. He's fired up, and we did the old sneak attack on these elk and got in
Yeah.
really close, and that was a
We
big bull.
we wasted a day and a half looking for a bull that I hit.
Yeah,
So, but that was between your kill and my kill.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
tough.
Yeah,
man.
he was a big one. So, just taking a good
He
guess.
went a long ways.
He was 340-ish. Big, nice
Yeah.
one. So
Did you get him in the shoulder? Or?
One shot, I think. It sounded like a
yeah,
shoulder
sounded
bone, shoulder
like
blade.
it was a paddle up front. So just a little too forward. So it rocked his world when it hit, and I could hear that. So, but
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the tough thing about archery hunting is sometimes that happens.
then he got in after a little while. He got in with a whole bunch of other elk, and that didn't.
It
that
was
didn't make
hard
it.
to track.
Yeah.
Hard to track.
Yeah.
100 different tracks going every which way,
It's
and
tough.
finding, just a drop here and a drop there every 100 yards. It's
It's amazing
Yeah.
how
Really
tough
tough.
they really are. He bedded down twice, and from that point, by the time he ended up in the bottom, I didn't have any more blood. He had laid down and rubbed it so hard that I just
it
I
just
know nothing
Yeah.
after that.
Oh,
So
Yeah.
that's too bad. Well, I'm super stoked you guys got it done, man. That's amazing.
It was a very, very fun hunt. So,
Awesome.
anytime you can spend time with the kids, it's a
You know,
good time.
even if we didn't kill, that hunt by far is the funnest hunt you will
Right.
ever go on.
Absolutely.
Down
Yeah.
there. Even
Just
if
to
you don't
experience the
kill.
elk
Just to
woods and the
experience-
bugling and everything. Yeah.
Just to
To be
experience.
quite honest with you, it doesn't even really matter what unit down there. If you can draw a unit down there in New Mexico, it is 10 times better than up here in this Northwest.
Oh, I bet. I've heard that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't think you got to be in just one certain unit down there. We just happened to be in the prime unit, but in the Gila, but it was definitely not.
We put in for different units, 3 different units, and it's worked out to where we draw our first choice ones, but you gotta. Well, I mean, we put in for mediocre units down there just to go down and just to do it.
Mhm.
So
Right.
and we're hoping here in another week or so, draw results will come out. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
hoping for 2 years in a
I
row.
keep checking the emails daily, actually about every
If you
3
guys
hours.
draw that again,
Yeah.
you might as well go play the lottery.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
That's
It'd
super
be
cool.
awesome. So,
But honestly, we average about every 4 years is when we'll draw.
yeah.
Is what we've been averaging.
Yeah, and for the guys that are listening in New Mexico, you always get, if you are successful, you will get that email before you know that the draw is even out.
Oh, okay.
So they send you an email that says successful,
Cool.
Yeah.
and then the next day the draw comes. So it's kind of cool.
So, what do you guys got planned for 2019? Does it all depend on draw results
Yeah.
and everything?
For sure.
Depends on where we draw, what we draw. We obviously put in for New Mexico. If we don't draw that, then we'll put in for Idaho, and then obviously Washington too. So we kind of plan what we draw if we go rifle or archery and for different states, just so we're not overlapping anything.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
So that's a big thing that we kind of play. So, but a lot of it is, if we don't draw New Mexico, then we'll definitely go after Idaho for sure,
Gotcha.
because that's another, nobody has any points. So
Man, I think we need to get together and plan a hunt together. Maybe go to Colorado or something. And
Mhm.
That'd
be
awesome.
fun.
That'd
yeah,
be cool.
Yeah.
I think between all of us together, we'd have enough camera guys, and we could put together a pretty cool hunt. And
That'd be
it
awesome.
would be fun.
Mhm.
It'd be fun.
Be a fun, whether we killed something or not, it'd be a fun hunt.
Right.
Just all of us together.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even have to be a deal where we draw. I mean,
Over the counter.
Just over the counter and let's go.
that's what's cool is there's still a number of states out there that you can do over the counter hunts in.
Right.
And hopefully that continues, because that gives everybody a chance to get out and hunt. And we want more people getting out there and hunting elk and hunting deer. And, especially, a lot of guys like on the east side that, they don't have elk. They're starting to get elk in some of those states over there. They don't have the opportunity like we have, here, even in Washington. Washington ain't the greatest elk state, but at least we have opportunity here.
You
to
can still
kinda-
go.
Exactly.
Yep.
And every day spent in the elk woods is a great day. I mean,
Yeah, for sure.
hands down.
And that's a big thing with, that we do. Even if we don't draw a unit that we want or draw a state that we want, we still go to an over-calendar unit and we still go and hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You guys
no
plan
matter
on getting
what.
Levi behind a bow this year?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's actually in the
Yep.
running right now for the New Mexico. So all three
Yep.
of us put in together.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Cool.
That's
it's all
awesome.
or nothing.
And Levi, you killed your first bull last year, right?
It was 3 years
Three
ago, I
years
think.
ago.
3 years ago.
Seems like it was just
Yeah.
the year before last.
Man,
but-
that was
It
a
was,
fun hunt.
it was fun.
Yeah.
yeah, I
It's a lot
heard
of
about
fun.
that. I was stoked for you, man. That's super cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, he was.
He was
there
on
was
cloud
there
nine.
was a lot
I
of
was
nerves
stoked
running
too.
when he was coming in at 10 yards.
Yeah.
he was a
I could barely get the boat
he
back.
was a little
but
hot mess.
Well,
Had to
you know,
calm him down a little bit.
when you never experience that, it's hard to keep your composure. Like I remember my first time, and it was like a mess. Like I couldn't even contain
chaos.
myself.
Yeah.
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 well, with the bow, it's quite a bit different.
Yeah.
And
Way
you killed
different
any
than rifle.
elk with a rifle?
No,
Yeah.
no muzzleloader. I wounded one, and stopped doing that. But
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, you guys got a pretty cool event coming up. Why don't you guys tell everybody that's listening about the event you guys got coming up?
Well, we want to have an event there. We had this idea about a year ago that we wanted to put together an event where everybody could come to my house in Battleground and have where they could bring their antlers, bring their mounts, even if it's just a shed.
Bring shed horns,
Yeah.
any kind of horns. It don't matter
Yeah.
if it's a ram, a sheep,
Doesn't matter.
anything. Just bring it. It's not about inches.
Right.
It's about getting everybody together and sharing the passion and telling your hunting stories, So everybody's going to just mingle around everybody and just tell the stories of everything. So
It's going to be like a big show and tell, right?
Pretty
much,
Yep.
yep.
And
Yep.
then we're gonna have a barbecue. So there'll be food. There'll be beverages there, and then there'll be some beverages for purchase, obviously. And then from that
bunch
point,
of stuff to give away, and
yeah, we're gonna have a big giveaway at the
Yep.
end of the night. So I
we're
got
getting quite a few sponsors now for it, so
yeah.
helping us out huge.
Yeah,
Yep.
there's a few that are in the running that I can't, obviously say right now, but that probably by the event will probably come on board. So, but the ones that we do have right now, thank you for that support for sure.
Yeah, we appreciate everything. Without that, I don't think we could do it.
Yeah,
To have a bunch of giveaways for everybody that attends.
And when you guys first talked to me about this event, I knew it was going to be popular. I mean, just to get everybody together to eat and have some beers and just talk about hunting
stories.
and just show off your year, talk about your year.
right.
You can't go wrong with something like that, and I'm super excited for it.
There's, I'm just gonna, to throw it out there. Once she reaches about 500 people, I'm probably gonna slow down on the entry. Because I can
Probably put a top on it about
I can
500
handle
people.
about 500 at my house, but not much more than that. So, go to the Illness Outdoors website, and the tickets, or you can purchase a ticket right there on the.
Click on the event
Yep.
and purchase some tickets.
How much are the tickets for the event?
$10 a
$10 to get in.
Yep.
And you guys are supplying food, so if you buy a ticket, you get food for free, essentially.
Yep.
That's correct.
And there's going to be tons of giveaways. I mean,
and 12 and under are free.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids are free, so 12
Yeah.
and under.
One thing I actually didn't put on the invite is kids 12 and under. I'm going to let them fish the lake. So,
Oh, cool.
the trout that are in there, they're ranging from about a pound to even up to 18 pounds. So,
I didn't realize you had trout in there that big.
yeah,
Yeah, they're big.
Holy-
There's some big ones.
there's some big ones in there.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
yeah, they'll have fun. So, and that's what it's about. It's so that everybody has fun, even the kids. So,
Yeah.
Awesome. And where can everybody reach you guys on social media?
at the Illness Outdoors.
Facebook
You guys are on
and
Facebook
Yeah.
and
and
Instagram.
Instagram.
And
Mhm.
YouTube.
YouTube,
Yep.
and then our website's www.theillnessoutdoors.com. So,
Awesome. Well,
yep.
if you guys are interested in that event, make sure you get on there, buy a ticket, come hang out with us. It's going to be a good time. And I know I'm super excited for it.
Yep.
It'll be a good time just to get everybody together, and we don't do it enough through the year, so this is just another opportunity to talk hunting,
Yeah.
share the passion.
And I'm trying to get these guys to do a elk calling contest, but we'll see. We'll see. I think it'll be a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, well, thank you guys for joining us and chatting about hunting, and
Sure.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Good luck for 2019. Hopefully, it's a good year.
Yep.
It'll be a good year whether we draw it or not.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you could, please hit that subscribe button. Share this out there to all your friends and family. And if you didn't like it, go ahead and comment below and let us know that you didn't like it, because we want to hear that feedback also. All right, everybody. So a new thing that we're doing is all of our new guests that we have into the podcast, we're going to have them sign our door here, and just kind of lets us know, who's been in and joined us on an episode of the Addicted Hunting or the Addicted Fishing podcast. So we're going to have these guys sign our door, and we're going to wrap up today's podcast. So thanks for tuning in.